So what should I wear to church, Benny?
Let's discuss.
Welcome, everybody, and of course, to my co-host here, Ben. Welcome to the first ever episode of the Christian Cast. It's good to have you on.
Thanks, Brad, and I'm very privileged to be here.
It's good to have you here. It's always good to see your face. I haven't seen it in a long time because of this COVID lockdown, but it's definitely good to be here in person.
Sure is.
All right, so our topic today is going to be about what you should wear to church. And this is the type of question that a few people ask me already. And it's really a common question, actually. And in a matter of fact, it can actually stop someone from coming to church and being a part of a church group because they could feel like they don't fit in at all. So what are your thoughts on the matter? And what do you think is appropriate dress to wear to church?
Well, Brad, it's very dependent on the culture that you're in, the place that you are. Many churches have different, ways of dressing to church. In different countries, it's very different. So that'll all depend on what you wear to church. But I think that the Bible has some pretty standard practices for kind of the baseline of what we should all wear to church.
No, that's true. And different churches, would have, some churches could be a little bit more strict, I suppose. There could be churches that only accept like suit and tie and dresses that are, down at the ankles, so to speak, or stuff like that. But, for the most part, I think for me personally, dressing in like smart casual is enough, to come to church, something, respectable. But that doesn't fly in a lot of churches, and we know that already. A lot of other people that are watching this knows that already, but that's what we're here to talk about, or at least discuss it.
So, that being said, I'll just get a Bible verse here.
Yep.
That talks about that topic.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to look up 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 7.
Alrighty.
So, it says, so this is talking about when Samuel was kind of interviewing all of Jesse's sons for the position of being the king of Israel, right?
Yeah.
So, the Lord said to Samuel, don't judge by his appearance. This is talking about one of Jesse's sons that Samuel thought would be a good fit because of his outward appearance.
Yeah.
So he said, the Lord said to Samuel, don't judge by his appearance or height, for I have rejected him. The Lord doesn't see things the way you see them. People judge by outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart.
Exactly. That's right. The Lord.
So that's when he went on to, go through all of Jesse's sons and find out which one would be king, but then it ended up being the young farmer boy who was, King David, obviously. Yeah. So it said the Lord, people look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. And I think that is the most important thing to remember. When you go into church, it doesn't really matter what you're wearing because us as people, we might look at what they're wearing as, right or wrong, but really God just looks at the heart, and it matters about what is your reason for being at church, what's your motivation for being there. And I guess we get distracted by, shiny objects and things, but at the end of the day, it's not about what we wear. It's only about what we do, how we treat others, I guess.
Yeah. So, you don't have to go to church in a suit. I mean, this is our opinion anyway. You can go to church in a suit. You can wear your absolute best. That's completely okay. But at the end of the day, God looks at the heart. He knows, what's inside, and it's not all about the outward appearance, even though, us people, even if we don't mean it, we can judge somebody just, looking at them and saying, oh, that's what you're wearing, is it? I think we're all guilty of saying that,
Yeah.
even if we don't,
I've had people come up
mean
to
it.
me in church before and not exactly say something like that, but
Yeah.
make a slight comment on the way that I was dressed and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Even my dad would say, "Is that how you're going to dress for church?" But I think you were telling me before that you thought, or you heard from someone that people should dress up the way that they would to a wedding or something. What were you saying about that?
So I was saying, they say go to church, in your best clothes, what you got. And that might be a suit and tie for guys, and it might be a really, really nice, looking dress with the girls. And when you go to a wedding, you're obviously going to be dressing, your absolute best. You want to make sure that you're fitting with everybody there, and it means a lot. You don't notice anyone sort of underdressing at a wedding, or at least the weddings that I've been to anyway.
Yeah.
So why is dressing for a wedding, I suppose, more important that you would consciously dress up way more for that than worshiping God? Dressing up for a wedding, is that require a lot more effort in your dress code?
Yeah, so I've heard that similar statement from people before. Like another example is like, how would you dress if you were going to meet the Queen or the President or something like that? You dress up in some good clothes that you have, but and then they give that reasoning that we should dress up our best, for God, because He's our Creator and the King of the universe. So there is some truth to that statement, I guess. But I think, the way that God is and the way how He looks at our heart, not our outward appearance, it kind of shows you that it actually, in my personal opinion, should be the opposite of you should be dressing down to a certain extent. Now, the Bible talks about this as well a little bit in 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 3 to 4. Let me just find this here.
Yeah, you're right.
So this is kind of talking about how people should dress for church. Okay, here it is. So 1 Peter chapter 3, 3 to 4. So it says, "Don't be concerned about the outward beauty or fancy hairstyles, expensive jewelry or beautiful clothes. You should clothe yourself instead with the beauty that comes from within, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is so precious to God." Okay? That is talking about how we should dress for church. Now, in that verse, it talks about we shouldn't be wearing elaborate clothes like jewelry or, doing your hair. I mean, it's not that that's a bad thing, but it's talking about, you should let your character really be what draws people to you, not your clothes that you wear or how you do your hair or stuff like that. So, like I said, it kind of talks about dressing down rather than dressing up to go to church, because the thing that I've come to know is that us as humans, obviously we might judge people on what they wear and how we see them, but really, as Christians, we know that it's not about us. It's all about God. So if we let ourselves get distracted by nice clothes and focusing on our attention on that kind of stuff, we really take away from what God is doing in our life. Like, we should clothe ourselves with the fruit of the Spirit, That's the kind of stuff that God really cares about, love and kindness and empathy for others. And we get too caught up as human beings, as all these outward appearances and, you know, what kind of cars we drive and what kind of houses we have and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But to God, that doesn't mean anything. You know, this life is only temporary anyway.
Yeah.
So it's really important to focus on the eternal things, building up our character and our relationship with Jesus. That's the way to go.
That's right. So, you know, you don't want to dress, you know, so fancy that, oh, you know, you want all the attention, all that sort of thing. So the attention should always be, you know, to God. You know, you don't want to, as I said before, I said this to my brother before, you know, don't dress to impress, but dress to respect, and, you know, respect the place that you're going to, you know, and, you know, you'll know how to do that. You'll read your environment, and you'll just see, you know, what the dress code is for that church or that place or whatnot. But doesn't always have to be suit and tie, doesn't always have to be fancy dress. And as Benny said, you know, you don't have to dress up. You know, it's actually better if you dress down, kind of thing.
Yeah, and think about this, Brad. You've probably seen this before in church, how everyone in church is wearing these nice clothes, suit and tie, you know, whatever style your church has. And then someone that's not a Christian, that's not been to the church before, comes in just wearing some casual clothes. You know, they've never been to a church before. They don't know what to expect. They come in wearing, they feel underdressed because they look around and everyone's wearing all these nice clothes. Yeah. And all of a sudden, they're feeling bad about themselves. They're feeling, even if no one's actually judging them, they're feeling like the pressure of this room is like up there. Yeah. And that's not what we want to do as Christians. We don't want to make people feel like that.
That's right.
So that's why God actually talks about, you know, dressing down, to be modest in what you wear. Yeah. And just, I think it's important to just wear what you would wear every day. Yeah. I don't think that you should really dress up to go to church. That's my belief anyway. Yeah. Because say, for example, you're at church, you're wearing this, you know, suit and tie or something, and then during the week you're just wearing, I don't know, like a basketball jersey or something, you know, like nice Jordans on your feet, and you got all this expensive like jewelry on and stuff like that, and that's, to me, the wrong attitude to have, that you're trying to change who you are to go to church, like you're putting up this mask to go to church kind of thing. Like it's something I'm guilty of as well, where you act different when you go to church. Yeah. You act in a way that is fake, I guess. Like you go to church and all of a sudden you're this person who's all high and mighty, and you're wearing the right stuff, you're saying the right things, you're, I don't know, like just being kind and caring to everyone. And then during the week, you go to work and you're treating all your workmates like they're nothing, you know? Like
that's it.
That's the wrong way to think about it, is we should strive to be the kind of Christians during the week that we are on the day that we go to church.
That's right.
And that should also be used in the way that we dress as well.
Yeah, that's right. So, you know, that's actually pretty good. That's actually not bad. I like that.
Thanks, Brad.
That's all right.
So for an example, let's say that there's a Christian, they go to church, they dress up nice and everything, and then that night they, you know, go out into the world and do the kind of things the world does, go to the clubs or stuff like that, go to a bar or a pub or something, and then all of a sudden they've totally changed what they look like, what they wear. They've totally changed the way that they're acting. And that's, to me, that's just it's fake is what it is. It's just pretending to be someone that you're not when you go to church.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, I'm guilty of this, man. I'm guilty of this as well. And you know, I used to wear a suit, you know, back when back in the day.
I'm not that old, suits, Brad.
Yeah, like I used to wear suits back in the day, but
and look, that's not saying that wearing a suit in itself is necessarily bad. It's just the expectation that we put on ourselves and others that come to our church because of the traditions that we've been brought up in.
Yeah, right? Exactly. And say you got a friend, right, and you want to bring in the church, but they don't have a suit. But then say if I was still in that phase where I did wear a suit, and would they want to come to church with me if I said, okay, just dress in whatever you got, I'll just come in a suit, and everyone else in there has got a suit on. When that friend comes into a church and he sees that he's the only one that sort of stands out in this negative way because he's wearing something that he believes isn't good enough for church, he probably wouldn't want to come back. But he'd be quiet about it, but he'd probably pull me over later on and say, "Oh, that was a good experience, but no, I'll probably skip next week." And
That's right.
Yeah.
And I've had experiences like that with some of my friends who I've invited to church. And then they've turned around and said, I don't know what to wear because I've never been to church before. And to me, that's pretty sad because we've come up with this high standard of clothing that as a church, we're all guilty of it, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
But it's just a tradition of wearing, nice clothes to come to church.
Yeah.
And to me, it's sad because people that don't feel like they have nice clothes to wear, they come into an environment where it's uncomfortable for them because they're wearing something that they're comfortable in, but because of everyone else around them is wearing this high standard of clothing, they're all of a sudden feeling like everyone's looking down on them, even if that's not the case. But it's just a natural instinct that they would have by coming into a church that's wearing different clothes to them.
Yeah, it's a natural vibe, right? You know that you stand out, and by standing out, that makes you feel uncomfortable. And, with feeling uncomfortable, there's a potential chance that you won't want to put yourself in that uncomfortable situation anymore, and that might mean not coming to the next church service.
Yeah, and I think that it's important as well on the other side of things that you shouldn't you should be careful with what you wear in the sense that you don't want to wear anything offensive or inappropriate to church. Don't come in your underwear. But
please don't.
I've sometimes come in clothing that could be seen as like being lazy, I guess, like just wearing thongs and what could be considered like pajamas or something.
Yeah.
But you don't want to. You got to be aware that you are coming into a place of worship where there are other people. So wear something that you would obviously be comfortable to wear in public, but also not dressing in a way that the world approves of, but something that you think as a Christian, God would be happy with me wearing this on the street to represent him.
Yeah.
Like don't wear something that has offensive writing has some kind of inappropriate pictures on there or something like that.
That's right. Yeah, it was a good way. A good, good thought, man. And I like the way you put it. That's for sure. So what we basically, learned from this podcast, and for you guys watching us discuss this, coming to church should be, shouldn't be as daunting, with what you wear, so to speak. You should just be able to come into any church, including ours, and be loved by everyone that's in there, be accepted, even if what you're wearing at that time might be maybe shorts or a shirt or something like that. Maybe you just wanted to come into a church, and maybe it wasn't your intention, but you thought maybe, oh, this church is open, I might just quickly jump in and see what it's like. Don't ever feel scared or intimidated to come into a church, even if you think you're underdressing, because it's all about you coming in there and just coming as you are, I suppose, in that sense.
That's it, Brad.
Coming as you are, where you are in your life. If you got clothes that may not be appropriate at the time, maybe you didn't have a choice of what sort of clothes that you were wearing. Just come as you are.
Come as you are.
God and all of us here will accept you and will love you. And that's pretty much something that all Christians, we need to remember. We need to remind ourselves that that's very important if we want to grow our churches. So
Yeah, and for us, I think it's important as well to kind of change the culture that we have in churches of seeing dressing up as being
yeah,
like this requirement that we
Yeah.
have for ourselves.
yeah,
I think we have to change that so that we can be more accepting of other people that are new to church and
Yeah.
aren't used to it. And like you've heard this before, Brad. Like church is a hospital for sinners,
That's right.
not a museum for saints.
yeah.
right?
That's it. That's right.
We're all broken people,
Amen.
and
Yeah,
we shouldn't try and make ourselves seem holier than we are just because of
Yeah.
what we're wearing
yeah,
or having an attitude that's different
Yeah.
when we're at church.
Yeah.
But then the next day, just we're completely different people.
yeah.
So
Exactly. We must be consistent with our behavior.
that's right.
You know what we're, I suppose, what we're wearing.
As
and all that sort of
Christians,
thing.
we're Christians every day, not just on
Saturdays.
the days that we
You
go
know?
to church.
Yeah. For us, Saturdays. For others, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast, Ben. It's good to have you.
It's good to be here.
And I'm glad we could discuss this. And I hope that everyone watching has enjoyed it. And write a comment down below if you want us to talk about something, different, or if you want us to elaborate on what we just talked about. Let us know in the comment section down below. But thank you all for watching. And Ben, hopefully we'll see you in the very near future.
Looking forward to it, Brad.
Thank you so much. And that's a wrap here on the Christian Cast. We'll see you guys later.
Bless it up.
Bless it up. Welcome back to our first ever podcast, the Christian Cast.
You can't say welcome back.
Oh, welcome back again. All right, keep going. All right, here we go. Take one. Welcome, everybody, to our first ever Christian Cast podcast. Oh, no, that sounds horrible. All right, let's do that again. Okay.
Oh, dear.
All right, here we go. Welcome back to our first podcast. No, that's not right. Welcome back to the...
Can't say welcome back.
No, I can't say
First
welcome
one,
back.
say
Okay.
welcome.
Yeah.